Mac guys here on Birds 365. Appreciate you streaming on in. Hour number 2 coming your way. We'll include Connor Orr from Sports Illustrated. Going to jump in with us coming up in the next 12, 13 minutes or so. Want to give props to another one of John's compatriots on the Eagles beat. I enjoyed reading this last night from our pal Jimmy Kempski, who was just on with us last week. Eagle draft pick comps. We know the Eagles drafted a couple of months ago. We know who the top drafts were. And Jimmy came up with a couple of guys who the way that they played in college, their measurables, projections. We're loving talking projections today and the inability for Chris Sims to do so. But Jimmy Kempski took a couple of shots with the Eagles draft picks. Did you see this article, John McMullen?
I have not.
Right,
I have not.
Don't look at it. We'll see if you can get lucky. And it's very difficult. Not going to chide you when you go 0 for 3. Jalen Carter. What current and or most recently played in the league defensive tackle do you think, at least in your mind, Jalen Carter comes to?
Boy, that's an interesting one because he's so gifted. He's too big to be an Aaron Donald type. I can't go Fletcher Cox because he's here. That would actually be probably my closest, a young Fletcher Cox, but
right,
that's too easy. I assume he didn't go that way. Keem Hicks is too powerful.
I think you'll be okay with this comp because you're a pretty damn good player.
Jeffrey Simmons.
There you go. From the Tennessee Titans, that Jalen Carter can be the next Jeffrey Simmons, which, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Simmons get paid this offseason?
Yes.
Didn't they just sign him to a mega contract to keep him?
Yes. Tremendous player. Great season. Deserved his contract. I think Carter's a little bit more. I think Carter's got more talent. That's how. For people who don't know,
right. If he becomes Jeffrey Simmons, the Eagles will be ecstatic. Johnny thinks he can be even better than that, and I'm not disagreeing with him because the kid has got a ton of talent. All right, first round pick, Nolan Smith. Now, this one surprised me a little bit. After I read it, I said, all right, I see where he's going, but it wasn't the first one that jumped out at me. Recent NFL player whose talent level, what he did, and what you think that Nolan Smith's going to be able to do as far as production goes. Who would you comp him to?
That the obvious comp there again, it's on the same team as Hassan Reddick, but I don't think he's the same player as Hassan Reddick. I think for people that don't know, Nolan's like really good against the run in college. He was better against the run than as a pass rusher. So he's like projected to be a very good pass rusher, but it's a lot of projection. And I'm trying to think of an undersized guy who's good against the run, and I can't even think of one. I'm trying to, I don't know, maybe Dwight Freeney.
That's not bad. I like that comp.
That's all I can come up with. It's so rare.
I'll give you the guy that Jimmy came up with, Clay Matthews. So you got to go back a little.
I love Jimmy. I do not agree with that one.
Yeah, I don't love that one either. I didn't.
Clay Matthews was just a one-trick pony, and he was great at the trick, but I mean, he was 100 miles an hour straight ahead at all times. And I always go back to that Colin Kaepernick playoff game where he set the record. If you watch the film of that game, he set the rushing record for quarterbacks. Clay Matthews did not know what the hell to do. I don't like that projection. I think Nolan Smith is a much more well-rounded player. My question on Nolan Smith is the pass rush. Like, I don't think he's going to be Clay Matthews as a pass rusher, but I think he's a much better all-around player than
you and I have a different scouting report on Nolan Smith. I think he is going to be a pass rusher. I think he is.
Everybody thinks he's going to be a pass rusher. I'm saying
double-digit sacks guy. I think he could have been a product of a very good Georgia defense when it comes to playing the run.
I mean, that's what people talk. That's the whole point. That's why it's a projection. I mean, everybody projects him to be a great pass rusher. I'm saying he didn't do it at Georgia. I think a lot of people think he did it at Georgia.
Right.
I think he topped out at 4 sacks. But that's the way they play defense. We went through this with Jordan Davis last year. They play because they're so good, they play a certain way. They're very disciplined. They're very read and react. They're not very attacking. And then you want to project him to be an attacking, and everybody has, and maybe he becomes a great player doing it. He certainly got the athleticism. All I'm saying is it's a projection is all, but that's what
understood. But sometimes projections are right, sometimes they're wrong. I noticed one writer / YouTube host who projected Micah Parsons as a pass rusher, even though that was not what he did at Penn State. He was a side-to-side, run down the ball, great tackling linebacker, and he got to the pros and became an edge rusher and is one of the best in the business. So sometimes you can see something and project correctly, like you did with Micah Parsons. Yeah, I'm projecting Nolan Smith to be more of an effective player in the pass game than in the run game. I know, and people have commented on this. You can confirm or deny. He's a little bit bigger than most people thought. Maybe draft night because you saw him in his well-tailored suit, and he did go viral a little bit with his talking to the coach and everything else. He's got pretty good size. He's a legit. Who's bigger, he or Hassan Reddick?
He's got a bigger lower body. I think that's what kind of fools people. But I mean, he's undersized. There's no question about it. But I think he's got a bigger lower body. And don't get me wrong. I want to make it clear because I know I get misquoted all the time with fans. Nolan Smith is going to be a pass rusher. I'm saying I was stunned how good he was against the run at Georgia. I think he's a better two-way player than people give him credit for. That's what I'm trying to say. I think because he's 235, I think people assume, well, he's just an edge rusher. He's better than the typical 235-pound guy when it comes to playing the run. Problem is, he's a 235-pound guy playing the run. I mean, at some point, that comes into it. That's what I probably didn't say it correctly.
All right. And let me give you the last one, Jimmy's, and then we're going to punch up kind of Orr. Third-round pick, Tyler Steen, played tackle at the collegiate level, is projecting here early on to potentially play guard for the Eagles. They're okay at tackle as long as they got that Lane Johnson guy still playing, and Jordan Mailata's going nowhere fast. So if Steen's going to play, he's going to play at the guard position. NFL guy who is comped to Tyler Steen. I actually like this one.
Got to be a tackle moving inside. It's not as easy as people give it credit for. Boy, that's a tough.
Yeah, that's tough. So I'm just going to give it to you, and you're going to tell me whether you do or don't like the comp. Where the hell is it? I wrote it down here. Oh, Robert Hunt from the Dolphins, who was a collegiate guard, collegiate tackle, who they moved into guard. Pretty damn solid right guard for the Dolphins. I like the comp. Wasn't a high draft pick, but neither was Steen, third round. So I thought that one was a good match by Jimmy. Robert Hunt of the Dolphins. Not that you're breaking down game films of the Dolphins offensive line every single week, nor am I. So I'm just projecting a little bit here. I actually thought Jimmy hit that one on there.
Yeah, I got to be honest with that one. Godspeed to Jimmy. I don't know enough about Robert's Hunt. I don't know enough about Tyler Steen. I got to see him at training camp.
Right. Well, they're all projections with the guys.
I mean,
that haven't played yet.
I was trying to think of a short arm guy who moved because he was short armed. It's tough. I can try to find somebody in the break. It's tough to come up off my head.
Do me a favor when you go to the break. You got the PFF rankings. How did he grade out Robert Hunt among guards in the National Football League this past year?
I don't know how he projected him. Did he bring up arms? Did you look at it?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly how he broke it down, but the whole started outside, was a collegiate tackle, moved inside, adapted well. That's what Jimmy was mostly tying it to. But do me a favor, look up Robert Hunt and see where he ranked with the guards. And if he ranked pretty well and Jimmy's right, then the Eagles have added another brick to the wall, and their offensive line is molded by Jeff Stoutland. Johnny Mac coming back. Hoping to hear from Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated national football writer. He's scheduled to join us next here on Birds 365.